Inside today, raining outside.
Yep. Lovely rain.
For what you are always grateful for.
I
Okay.
am.
Go
And what
on.
was really very cool was I had just finished a guided visualization about bringing rain to the Nevada, Arizona, Utah deserts. And as soon as I finished it up,
It started.
it opened up here.
Yeah. You keep being astonished by the magic of what you do, and which I always find to be revealing and refreshing about you.
And I hope I'm never not.
Yeah, you hope you
Not-
don't ever get used to it.
Yes.
There.
Always
If you don't know what we're talking about, as far as that magic is concerned, in fact, if you don't know the whole concept behind the witch and the rider, it's probably a good idea to go back and review the first 3 or 4 clips that we have loaded up on the YouTube Witch and the Rider site there, the channel for that. So when we address some things that might seem esoteric, it's actually referencing back to some things that we've already talked about. One of which that we've already talked about is shared meaning. And you think that I didn't really...
I felt like I dominated that.
Oh,
And then I think that we need
But
a
yeah.
little bit more of that linear aspect
okay.
of shared meaning.
Well, I'll get into a little bit of that, but what I want to cover with that and with you, and I know you have prepared some ideas to come back with, is, well, shared meaning is great. We don't always arrive at it. And there are a number of reasons why. I'm going to talk about 3 of those reasons in this clip today of what inhibits or barriers that stand in the way of our arriving at shared meaning. And I should note that shared meaning is really the reason why we're speaking to begin with. It's the reason why we self-disclose, the reason why we're vulnerable, the reason why we're sharing what it is that we feel, even if it's just, oh, I went grocery shopping today, or something a little bit more, oh man, I'm really feeling some angst today. Well, shared meaning is the key component to understanding that, to understanding what's going on there. And you bring a wonderful, magical perspective to that whole concept of shared meaning.
Thank you.
So there's 3 ideas here that I wanted to talk about. The first one is this idea of allness. The second one is this idea of polarization. And the third one is the concept of what's called static evaluation. Okay, so I'm going to start off with allness. It's a new word. It's kind of weird, but it's actually very, very simple. The barrier of allness is a psychological barrier. All 3 of these are, actually, and none of these are mutually exclusive, by the way. We can do all 3 of them at the same time, okay? But it's psychological. And one thing I haven't established with you, the audience, is context and noise, what's really going on when we're communicating, because we're not just communicating on a verbal level.
Right.
We're communicating on a nonverbal and verbal level, and then we're communicating on a contextual level, and there are a number of different contexts to that. And then to go through and interfere with all that communication, we have noise. And noise happens on 3 different levels as well. One, physically. We just heard a jet fly by. That's physical noise going on. The second one is psychological, okay? Psychological noise. You might be thinking, where is he going to go to next? That's psychological noise. And that might interrupt or inhibit our ability to arrive at shared meaning here. But I know you have the ability to take that noise, because you've had plenty of practice, and not just with me, to clarify or to pin whatever that noise was and then come back to it and ask the question and get some clarification. The third noise I'm not going to worry about here. It's semantic noise. It's a noise of meaning. Well, you know what? Every now and then we get into semantic noise.
We do.
When I use this as an example in a previous clip when Julia was talking about Mercury. To me, I only understood Mercury on one level, which was the planet Mercury. I didn't even think about the element, which Julia brought up. And then, of course, she got in a little deeper into this idea. So semantic noise, I'm not going to worry about so much, but it is a player here. If I say allness, that might create some semantic noise with you. I know it did with you when I first introduced it. So let's see how I did. What do you understand about this barrier, this communication barrier of allness?
That if we're communicating with someone, that I have this sense of knowing it all already, Like, I know where you're going to come from. I know the perspective.
Good. Yeah,
Right?
right. Yeah. And more often than not, that's based on assumption.
Right.
Okay. We haven't been together long enough to maybe get into that rut of allness because we haven't been conditioned by each other's behavior a whole lot. I mean, we have, but not to a point to where it's ironed in, it's in the mold, and we're not budging from that within our brains, which is another barrier.
Also, though, we have been on planet Earth and in various relationships in our lives that create an allness. In other words, of course, this is what he's going to say.
Right.
Of course, this is how I'm going to react. Like, we think we know it all because we have over 6 decades of experience, right? This is the way it always is. It's always been this way for me. So there is allness, even though we haven't established it together that way. There's assumptions.
Yeah, there is. The longer you're together within the relationship, the easier it is to default to those assumptions.
Yes.
Allness, probably one of the easiest ones to default to, especially if we keep playing with that psychological noise in my mind, just like you eloquently brought up. Oh, I know what she's going to say next. I know what she's thinking about this. I know what her attitudes and beliefs and values are on this particular subject. So I'm not even going to ask. And that's the carcinogen to shared meaning. So at the top here, I talked about you being surprised by doing this guided visualization about rain and then having it rain.
Yes. And that could add into the allness. Like, I never want to not be surprised. I want it to always take my breath away. And I think that if I allowed allness to slip in, that would be it. It would be like no more of this big surprise.
Well, it would also create an expectation.
Yes. Oh, that's such a dangerous thing.
Why?
Because an expectation holds something. I look at it like it holds something in a container. I expect this, which then limits me to what is possible. And then it also brings disappointment if I didn't get that. And it doesn't mean not to expect.
Not to be open to?
Yes.
Okay.
It does not mean that we shouldn't set a goal, a vision, a desire, but not to be so attached to it that we expect that to happen. For me, that's what always wanting to be surprised at the magic that is happening. I have an intention, I have a desire, but I'm not choke holding an expectation.
You're not holding those expectations to what your desired outcome is. And so that frees you up. Things have more meaning to you as a result of that, I would imagine.
Yes.
I am assuming.
It does open me up to more magic because I know that whatever source, energy, universe, God, Goddess has for me is so much better than I can even imagine.
So the antidote to this is fairly straightforward and simple. You just explained it. Check your expectations. Okay, be open to things, how they might actually come about there. Limit assumptions. I got to keep it in my head with you that we are still so new to each other that we haven't developed the default allness to begin with. And here we are with a relative clean slate of a relationship to where we can nip that in the bud, so to speak.
Right. We are in the awareness of allness.
Yeah. Yeah. The second barrier kind of dovetails into this idea of allness because the barrier stands in the way of our ability to see that our partner is dynamic, that they change, that they're fluid. And we call this static evaluation. Static meaning not moving, and evaluation meaning, well, I'm assigning a value to this. So in static evaluation, we might have these judgments about our partner that even though they might be in the process of trying to improve themselves, we still hold them to that snapshot, to that Polaroid that we've taken of them as far as that judgment is concerned. What does discernment have to do, or intuition have to do with that idea of static evaluation, of not allowing any other value or interpretation to come into somebody's behavior?
Well, understanding the difference between discernment and judgment. And sometimes discernment is essential. We often interject judgment. I'm judging that person. I'm judging the conversation. There is a judgment.
A judgment's based on a value. Sorry about stepped
Yeah.
on you there. It's on a value. And these values aren't always positive. The word value has a positive connotation to it. But the value could be good, it could be bad. It could be righteous, it could be wicked. It could be, right? There's this dichotomy that runs the gamut of values here, so you understand that. Okay, I've interrupted you.
No, I think that was really where I was going to go with that.
Okay.
Like just knowing the difference between passing a judgment on something and being able to be discerning of something. And where that comes in for me in communication is, am I listening without judgment,
Yes.
without allness?
Good.
Am I listening and am I discerning? And that discernment could come in, should I be commenting? Should I be pausing? Am I here to just hold what is being said?
Okay, I'm going to ask you to go a level deeper with discernment and how that relates to intuition.
Okay, so I'm going to reverse that in the sense that many of us, especially women, have been told that our whatever we're feeling is just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous. It must be that time of the month. You have no reason to be feeling that way. So if we intuitively have a hit, or a nudge, we've been told that's not real, and let it go. Just come back to what's right here in front of us. And what happens is then we've lacked discernment, because discernment helps us to build the muscle of intuition.
The key to getting away from static evaluation is a new conversation that's going on in your own brain about the evaluations that you're making of other people, particularly of the significant other in the relationship. And as soon as I might default to this idea of, oh, I've heard this 100 times, I can go through and say, no, I am going to remain open because I am going to find something new here with what you're saying. Now, I haven't defaulted to that judgment yet with you, okay? And I'm hoping to abate that because I've developed this voice that says, stave off your evaluations and listen because something new is going to happen. No one is so set in their ways that once they learn about their communication habits, their attitudes about communication, what they default to, if they make an effort to change that, then they have the ability to ameliorate, to improve.
I think also sometimes, and I do this, where I'll say the same thing over and over and over again. You, the listener, the recipient of that over and over and over again, the repetition, isn't really why I'm saying it. It's more for myself.
Okay.
You know, when we speak our words into, they have life now. And I think understanding the magic of that spell casting is really important too for us as individuals.
The third idea that I wanted to talk about just quickly here is this idea of polarization. And unfortunately, it's an idea with which I'm sure you're probably familiar. The polarization basically is that we only see two different sides of whatever dichotomy it is that we're talking about. If it's a political dichotomy, then the sides define themselves, and I won't get into that. When we start becoming polarized with a partner, okay, we not only make assumptions about what they might be thinking or feeling or doing, but we have pigeonholed them into one extreme or the other, with no room in between, no room along that dichotomy to give the benefit of the doubt, to open up our own minds and see if that person has the ability to maybe leave where we've put them at and recognize that they are fluid, that there is a continuity of what they're feeling and how they're expressing themselves.
I think polarity is an outdated thing, like polar opposites.
Okay.
Even though it's more and more black and white than ever before, there's a lot of gray in between. And what I share in community often about the polarization of things is that it's more like that cat toy that's circular, and the cat bounces the ball and it goes around and it goes one way or it goes the other. You know, like a love and hate, right?
Okay.
Or good and bad. They're really on the same pole. So if you bring it into the circle, then you get to decide which way it's going, which color, darker or lighter, is it going to.
With varying shades in between.
Varying shades of gray. Life is filled with lots of gray.
It's all gray. I've never, well, even saying that is a polarized comment.
I've never.
I always. Well, these are behaviors of polarization. Well, you never listen to what I have to say, or you're always on your phone. Well, nobody ever is always or never doing anything. Okay, but that's polarized thinking, and that's how we go through and verbalize our own polarized thinking. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is if she thinks that I am always on my phone, when I'm on my phone, how much motivation am I going to have to get off of it? If she's already thinking that I'm always on my phone, who cares, right? So I'm going to go back and do that. So that kind of polarized behavior goes through and encourages even more of that behavior. It's kind of this downward spiral as it goes. Now, that's kind of a simplification here, but I'm hoping it brings home the point that we need to get away from these terms of extreme if we want to reach shared meaning.
Yes. And I just want to take back the hate and love because it would be hate and like. Love, it all comes down to love.
Okay.
And I think by listening to these videos, for us to share what we are, it is coming from a place of love. And my big words this year are let love lead. And I just invite those that find their way to us in this conversation, be it in a relationship that you've been in for 40 years or 4 days, and whoever that relationship is, to come into the understanding of how can we be open to let love reach places it's never been yet, not just in your partner, but within yourself as well. Last night in community, we had our Luna gathering. Monday, the 29th of June, will be the Capricorn full moon, which is the full moon in the 6th month. And it was so aligned to the things that we were talking about last night. This conversation is so aligned with what we're presenting. And that was unplanned. Again, another one of those delightful, magical surprises. So I had written these notes, but I think we pretty much covered a lot.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I will add into a blog post with this attached
Good.
in my website.
Now, chances are, if you're just joining us, if you're just meeting Julia or myself here either way, you're probably not familiar with some of the things that we're talking about, like Luna Gathering or the community that she's involved in. If you have questions, please ask them. Okay, you can do it a couple different ways. Probably the most expedient way is to ask those questions in the comments of this particular episode, as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. Or you can go online. I'll go on to Facebook if you're on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, I am not going to encourage you to get on Facebook.
Nope.
If you're on Facebook, though, look up The Witch and the Writer. Okay, it's a page that I've established for us also to open up communication with you, the audience, and to post our videos and some other things that we write along the way.
And we love conversation.
We do. We love to hear from you.
Yes.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The subscription will come up here somewhere. And we hope to hear from you. So I'm grateful that you've taken some time to join us here. I'm grateful to you, Julia.
I'm grateful to you.
Yeah, this will continue to be a great experience here for us.
Yes, we have so many avenues to go down, don't we?
A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. Create an amazing day for yourself.